Wait, it's this easy to get started making money? By the way, if you like videos on how to grow your customer list and build a real brand, then subscribe to my channel because I have new videos each week.
It's the Morning Marketing Machine, here to grow your e-commerce business with proven marketing strategies and tactics, so you can run your business with machine-like precision. My name is Douglas Levin. Let's dive in.
Uh, my name is Douglas Levin, and I built a 20,000 person messenger list ahead of the launch of our first product, which led to 20,000 in monthly sales within our first 3 months of launch. I also have a link to a free cheat sheet below with tips on how to take control over your e-commerce income. How many times have you heard the money's in the list? The money's in the list. For me, if you're anything like me, it's right up there with play some Skinner. You've heard it over and over again and know you need to start working on your email autoresponder so you can set up your emails. But maybe you don't know how, or you're too busy, or something just comes up, right? But that means that no money is coming into your business on the email side. So if you've already spent thousands of dollars on ads, you hopefully have people getting on your list, but everyone forgets that you really make your money on the back end once you've acquired that customer. This is when you get a chance to offer upsells, to get them to buy again a replenishable product. There's just so many different ways you can take advantage of that customer once you've already got them on your list. So if you've already done the hard part and gotten someone on your email list, shouldn't you take advantage of it? So today I'm going to walk you through how to set up and run Klaviyo. It's my favorite email autoresponder so you can manage your e-commerce store. All right, so we're now in Klaviyo, and I'm going to walk you through the setup. So beginning parts, obviously, if you haven't done it before, you want to make sure you connect your Shopify store to Klaviyo. So I'm just kind of using here just an example. This is just a dummy domain. There's nothing on it on Shopify. So if I'm logged in, say you are, yours is obviously going to look different, but you're going to take this part here, and that's your URL that you're going to need for Shopify, and then when you're setting up Klaviyo as well. So you're going to go through that. It's going to ask you for the Shopify URL, which is that. And as you go through the process of signing up, you'll also be having an opportunity to, if you want to have any branding colors, they're going to also ask you questions like how big is your list? Do you have any social media links that you want to add? It's also important to understand you don't have to add all this stuff right now. It can be added later. So if you just want to get started, you can just skip through all this. Obviously, it makes it a little bit easier to get started if you have it already, but it's not really a big deal. Next thing you want to make sure you understand in Klaviyo is how to find the API, because you're going to need this when you're connecting. So if you go here under the name of the account, you're going to go to account. And then from there, you're going to go into settings. And then you see API keys is right here. So when you click on that, you're going to see two things. You're going to see a public API and a private API. If you're connecting, say, Zapier or other things like that in the future, then they're going to ask, what's the API key for your email autoresponder? So that's where you find it under settings and API keys. So next, after this, we're going to talk about lists and segments. So one of the things that Klaviyo does is if you've ever signed up to be on someone's list, they will sometimes send you an email afterwards saying, do you confirm that you want to be on this person's list? That's called a double opt-in. So Klaviyo defaults to that, where they'll say, okay, every time somebody signs up, then we're going to send them an email saying, do you really confirm that you want to be on this person's list? So you can do a single opt-in, which is what I typically do. It's up to you how you want to do it. Just understand that there are pluses and minuses to each side. In terms of the double opt-in, the plus is obviously it's going to be a lot more of a quality of traffic, because if they took the time to click on and say, yes, I want to confirm that I want to be on their list, then they're probably a better potential customer as well. However, the downside is that sometimes people won't even see it, or they're going to be crazy busy with 5 million other things that go on, and they're never going to click to confirm. I typically just go with a single opt-in, but it's completely up to you how you want to do it. So anytime you're creating a new list, it's going to default to a double opt-in, and you have to set it up as a single if that's the route you want to go. So I've already got one here for lead magnet, but let's say I was creating a brand new one. So I go to create list and segment, and I'm in list and segments. And let's say I'm creating a list, and let's just call this test, and then hit create list. Now it's got stuff here, and then you go to settings right here. And if you scroll down, you see it has already auto-populated to a double opt-in, right? So this is where you would click single opt-in and then obviously update list settings. And now it says it's been updated, right? So now next time that you would go to settings for this list, and it's also important to understand this is just on this list, that next time you would go, okay, now it's a single opt-in. Every time you create a list, and I need to make sure that you guys understand this, so I'm repeating this. Every time you create a list in Klaviyo, it's going to default to the double opt-in. So if you want to change it, then it's just got to be a part of your process that every time you create a new list in Klaviyo, that you go to the single opt-in. Obviously, if you're going with double opt-in, then there's nothing you have to do. So that's something that I know a lot of people have had issues with. So make sure that you're doing that. Next thing I want to talk about is the idea of segments. So we showed list and segments, which is right here, right? So it's obviously really easy to set up a new list. So now we're going to create a segment. So a segment is basically a portion of a list. And so if we're looking at here, and obviously there's nothing in this account, it's just a dummy account, but say a lead magnet, right? Say that's the list I want to take a segment off of. Then I would go to create list and segments, and then go to segments. And then let's say that this is people who have bought from lead magnet, right? You obviously can do whatever you want to. Then now you see definition below it, and these are the options that Klaviyo gives you, so you can set up specific segments. So there's a ton of them here. I'm not going to go into all of them here, but if you're looking at, say, properties, then you could say there's all this stuff here, like, all right, their first name, if you wanted to segment somebody out or just give it to somebody. There's also like what somebody has done. So then when you're doing that, when you start to send emails to them, or maybe they've bought, so you could have a buyer's list, right? You could have people that have added to cart. You could have people that have bought a specific product. So this is what's great about Klaviyo, is that you can do it for specific products or sets of products as well. So if you wanted to do that, then you could set all that stuff up. So you kind of see there's a bunch of stuff here, placed order, and then you could also say like how many times they've placed order. So if it was at least, let's see, is greater than 3 over the last 30 days, right? You could like, you can kind of see it's endless in terms of the type of segments that you can create. And then from there, obviously it's within the list of, say, lead magnet people in this example, and then you would just take segment, and then it would it's set up. I'm not doing that here. I'm just kind of walking you through it. But that's the idea here between list and segments, the difference between them. And if you're liking any of this, make sure to leave a like below. Next, we want to talk about flows in campaigns and how to connect so that you can get orders to set up an automated email to your customer. So if I'm trying to talk about, all right, let's say someone goes and buys your best-selling product, right? Let's say we're selling some Nike shoes, right? Some red Jordans. They're your bestseller, and you want to have something set up where as soon as someone buys your red Jordans, that you're going to send them a thank you message, right? Or you're going to start them in a post-purchase sequence. Then what you can do is you can set up a flow. So so to make sure you guys understand, a flow in Klaviyo is that email autoresponder aspect that's automation. So as soon as someone buys, right, they buy that pair of Nike red Jordans, they're going to get this email sequence that immediately goes out, or however long you want the delay to be. That's a flow. If you want to set up a campaign, what that means is it's going to be a one-time email that's going to get sent to a specific set of people that are on your list, just at a designated time. So flow is just evergreen. If you understand what that term means, it's just going to happen all the time when someone does a specific action. Whereas campaign, you're the one who's saying, on March 25th, I'm going to send an email to my buyers list, all of them, about my next promotion, right? Or I'll talk about it a little bit later. Like maybe we're going to send like a holiday calendar. We're going to set that up, right? We're gonna I think we talked about that a little bit before, the idea of holiday calendars, where, okay, I'm going to do a July 4th sale, I'm going to do a Black Friday sale, like all of those kinds of holiday where you're going to have a reason to talk to your list. That would be a campaign where you're just setting up a specific time and date where you're going to send it to a portion of your list or all of your list, however you want to do it. Versus a flow is where someone gets added to your list from, say they opted in through an exit intent pop on your website. And now you want to set up a nurture sequence, or someone got a Facebook ad and they opted into your list, but they didn't buy. And now you're sending a abandoned cart sequence, right? Any of those kinds of things are called flows, but the other one is campaigns. So if we're going to try and do flows, right, we're going to set up that someone is now got our lead magnet, and now we're going to set it up so that they're going to get some kind of sequence, right? So we're going to go here, and I've already set up a lead magnet, but obviously name it whatever you want. And from there, we talked about that there's some kind of action that somebody is going to take that's going to send this flow out. So you can set that up here with a trigger. So I've already set up one, but you can kind of see if you click on it, then I got lead magnet shows up here, and that's where it's going to go to this list. So I know in terms of this list that these are people that have already signed up for the exit intent pop, right? So I set that up already where that's all this list is. So you can set it up. I guess we'll walk you through if we're going to create a brand new one. So we're going to create it from scratch, and I'll call this lead magnet 2. And as we go in here, it's going to say, what's the trigger, right? So this is where we're saying, what did they do? So if they were added to a specific list, like I already set mine up where it's lead magnet, means that somebody is now added to that list. It can be a segment, it can be whatever you want it to be. And then at that point, okay, I want it to be this list, and I want it to be lead magnet, right? And then if you have any specific flow filters, and we talked about this with listing segments, where there's all of these different options about what people can be assigned. So if we want somebody that's done a specific action or whatever it is, then you can go through this entire list of options, and it's obviously a very inclusive list of everything you can do, and you can have a bunch of different filters in here as well. But let's just say for now we're not doing that, and we're just going to do people that are added to a lead magnet. So now that's the trigger, and then you see it's just basically drag and drop. So if you want to have some type of time delay, you would just drag this over, and then you kind of see like where it looks like it's out here further. Like you kind of see how that is. Like doesn't show up, now it shows up. That means it's going to drag and drop into this part of the flow. Usually I don't want to have any type delay whenever somebody gets added to my list. I want them to immediately get something. So I'm going to set up email, right? And then from there, I drop it in there. And now that means that as soon as somebody subscribed to this list email lead magnet, that they're going to get this email, right? And also it's in draft, which means it's not going to send right now. When you're ready to send an email, you're going to click on here, and then it's going to change to live. We'll get to that in a little bit. So you're going to click on here, and then it gives you over here in the corner, in the left corner, you can kind of see that it now gives you different options. So smart sending, and you can kind of see what all this stuff is. So smart sending means that you want to skip people in your list that have already received an email from you too recently, and you can set that up. UTM track parameters is basically good for Google Analytics, other things where you want to keep track of certain aspects. So it defaults, if you kind of see here, it defaults to smart sending is on, UTM trackers are off. Obviously, you can change this however you want, and then there's additional filters too if you want to add. This is where you can add in your subject line. So thank you for signing up, right? And obviously, this is going to be whatever you want it to be. And this is also where if you yourself want to keep track of this is email number 1, this is email number 2, any of that stuff, then you would just assign it here. Nobody's going to see that but you. And then you're going to go in and configure content. And now we're actually into the creation part of Klaviyo, where you want to set up your emails. So this is where you put your subject line right here. This is where you're going to put a preview text. So if you don't understand preview text, basically what that is that whenever you get a message from somebody that, say you're on somebody's email list, you will usually see the subject line. Everyone knows what that is, but then you'll start to see in smaller writing, like a kind of like a preview of what the email is going to say. And there's like usually like up to a sentence or so of, oh, get yours today, or this rocks, or whatever it is that you can kind of read. That's the preview text. So that's where you would put in whatever that is, obviously, and then make sure you hit save changes. And then there's different options here in terms of how you want to set up your email. So I'm not going to get into this too much. You can obviously just kind of see what it is. So let's say we're going to do drag and drop. And then that's where this shows different options that Klaviyo gives you. Obviously, there's a bunch here. I recommend over time creating your own templates because then at that point, it's going to have your own unique feel. Your color scheme is going to be in there. Your logo is going to be in there. At the bottom, where you're going to have any social links, any of that kind of stuff that you want to have in there, like your information on your brand in terms of your address, other things like that. If you want to have all that stuff in there. And I'm not going to kind of go into all that stuff right now, but it's in Klaviyo, and there are basic things that have to get set up just in terms of unsubscribe, in terms of a way for them to contact you if they need to. So they typically want some type of an address on there as well. And Klaviyo will walk you through all that stuff. But you can save all that stuff under My Templates. So you see, like over time, it will give you that. Let's just go with a basic one for now. And waiting for it to generate. All right, and now we're into the actual creation part of the email. And this is for a flow or a campaign. It doesn't matter. It's going to look the same. And this is where you kind of see, like, here's a spot for your logo. And you kind of see on this side, on the left side, are all of the different things that can be put into the email. So here's if you want to create more text. Here's if you want to add an image. So say you want to put your logo in there, right? This defaults to, this is just text. But let's say we want to replace that with an image. And then we would click on here. And then that's where you would hit upload import. And then browse, obviously, like your desktop if you have one, or a URL. And then from there, you would just add it in as your logo. And you can also resize it, all these other things, but that's more design than anything else. And you can kind of see, like, there's space as well. So you can kind of see that that's another one as well. You can kind of see, all right, there's spacer, there's a horizontal roll, and then there's the button and text as well. So typically, I will typically use image, text, button, and then some kind of a space. And if you're actually looking to change the color as well, you can kind of see, like here, this is a different color than just black. As you go into it, you kind of see on the left side, you see block styles. So that's where you kind of see, okay, this is what the color is, right? So if I want to change this, I would go here, and then it gives me a whole bunch of different options if I want to do that. Or if I know exactly what the hex code is for, say, my brand colors, then I would put that in there. And then from there, I would just hit save. Obviously, I'm not going to do that here because we're just kind of walking you through it. But that's all it would really be. And then from there, you would just go through everything. As you're putting in the text as well, you can add in other things. So if you want to, there's bold, italicize, underline, all those different things. If you want to change the color of the text, then you can change that as well. You kind of see here text color. So from there, you would click on that and then add whichever colors you're looking to add. And then if you want to change the font or the size as well, other things as well, if you want to add properties. So like your first name, you want to add their email, any of that information, that's right here under insert property. So obviously pretty simple here to maneuver. It's not meant to be difficult. And then you're going to go through that process. The other thing I would recommend that you guys do is once the email is ready to go, always preview it. And so to do that, you would just go here on the left side. And if you just want to show it directly in Klaviyo, then you would hit preview now. If you want to send it to, say, yourself, then you would do that. But let's say I'm just going to preview it now. And then you kind of see what it's going to look like in the finished version that other people are going to see. You can click on it if you want to click on links. And in terms of the links, what I'm going to show you is, all right, so let's say we talked about the image, right? So all that one has nothing in it. So let's say we're going to use this one. So you kind of see here if you want to replace the image or edit the image. We talked about that a little bit before. If you wanted to say edit the image, then you can obviously go through this process, filter it, resize it, all those other kinds of things. But if you don't want to, then just obviously leave it, but you can add in the link right here. So if you want someone to click on this image and then it's going to go to your website for a specific product, then that's where you'll put in the link right here. And obviously pretty simple to maneuver. If you want to create a button, right? Let's put in a button. And then that's where right now it defaults to make your purchase. Grab yours today, right? If you want to do that. And then you would add in the link here. And if you want to change the color of the button, that's where we go back to block styles, right? And then maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want it to be this color or this color, right? So it's fully customizable. You can do whatever you want here. And if you want to change, obviously, the font, you can do that. Well, you can pretty much do whatever you want here in terms of changing it. So really simple to use here. And that's really about it here. And then just to show you one more thing, we're going to go to campaigns. So same thing here, right? We talked about all this, and that's the flow. And now you're going to go in and we're going to walk you through campaigns. Same basic process, same exact thing that we were just talking about. Let's say we're going to set up here like a July 4th promotion. The only real differences from a flow in terms of the setup are you're now trying to target specific portions of your list. So we talked about lists and segments earlier. That's all this is right here. So you're looking and saying, all right, who do I want to target with my July 4th promotion? So if I want to target VIP customers or repeat buyers or anything like that, I would add that here. And if you want to exclude specific people as well, that would be right here. I don't want to send it to my test audience, right? So it's only going to send to VIP customers that are not in the test audience. And then we talked about smart sending. That's what it is right here. You can kind of see that. And then tracking, and then you would just hit save and continue. And then obviously I don't have anything here, so it's not going to do anything. But as it's going to go through the process, it's going to go to the next step. You kind of see right here, there's step 1, 2, and 3. If I had this ready to go, then it would go to the like a preview of what the content is going to be, who the list is going to be, that's going to get sent to, and when it's going to be. And then from there, I just double check everything. If you want to set up a specific time, it's going to also ask you, do I want to send it to everybody at 10 a.m. Eastern time? Do I want to send it to people at 10 a.m. in their recipient time zone? So I'm in Central Time. So if it was 10 a.m. Eastern, it would get sent to me at 9 a.m. my time, right? So how do you want it to be set up? You can configure that as well, and then you would set it up to go out. So if you're setting up, like we talked about the idea of like kind of first access, and like you want to send it like a big promotion for holidays, either one of those types of situations, then you could set up 3, 4 emails for a campaign. So like, okay, I'm going to set it up over a 4-day weekend, and I'm going to send them a whole big July 4th promotion. And I can set up all of my emails as campaigns to go out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I can set it up in one day where now it's set it and forget it, and I'm done. So really easy to set up. I know this can seem like it's a lot to do when you're first getting started, but it's really simple. And so again, as you guys go through the process, this will make things so much easier. You can batch out emails, you can set up your nurture sequences, you can set up your flows, and now you're going to start to take advantage of your list and make some sales. If you're looking for more tips on how to take control over your e-commerce income, then click the link below in the description for a free cheat sheet. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips on how to grow your list and build a real brand. All right, bye.